one single consciousness, making up everything. I am that, and you are that also. The very fabric of reality. It wouldn't exist without you. You're more involved in this than you think. A lot more involved. The spirit of who you are is what's called omnipresent, existing everywhere and everything simultaneously, never ceasing to exist, eternal always. But humankind has forgotten this omnipresent nature of the true authentic self and presence of who we are. We do tap into it sometimes. I know you have. You've felt those infinite, boundless moments, surely. Surely you have. But to a great extent, we have forgotten our true nature. Similar to a bird being born in a cage. It will think and believe that that is where it belongs. But the bird's true nature is flying freely out in the nature. But the bird doesn't know, because it was born in this cage. And you and I were born in a sort of cage. Not the kind of cage I'm here to freak you out or terrify you about, but the cage of your own self-perception. Born in this cage, you've forgotten, just as the bird forgets its true nature is flying in the air, that your true nature is omnipresence. You are everywhere, all at once, simultaneously. Everything that rises and falls does so from the very same consciousness that you and I share. We're the same, you and I. Every single one of us. And if you could begin to remember, even to a small degree, the true being that you are. Not your own self-perception of being this self, which is the cage you were born in. But it's not you. It's not really who you are. It's part of the experience here, this body, this mind, this self-perception of being this person who lives in this place, who has this story and these friends, and perhaps you've got enemies and goals and problems and successes, and you've got all of these things. But you see, these are all bars on the cage that the bird is born in. This self-perception is not your true nature. Now, here's the funniest thing to this cage that the bird is in, that your self-perception has you in. Here's the funniest thing. This cage has various bars to it that make up a cage, but guess what? The door is open. There is no door closed on it. Understand this. Your omnipresent being, self, so to speak, who it is that you really are, came into this cage, into this reality, into this experience, into this body, into this story that you are living out in your life, with the full present awareness that there is no door on this cage, that in every single moment, you would always have the opportunity to step out of the cage, should you ever choose to. For there is no one around to close and lock a door that does not even exist. You came here into this experience fully knowing from your true omnipresent consciousness self, being the truth of you. You came here knowing full well that you could always step back out into the truth of who you are, your true nature. Like a bird that flies into a cage and hangs out in it for a little bit and plays with its toys and eats its food, and then flies back out of the cage freely into the light of the sun, into the breeze, and it opens its wings and it lets that wind lift it up into the freedom that is its true nature, to fly in the air. So you see, I'm not here today to tell you that the cage is bad, for there are many things in this cage that perhaps you are here to experience, to explore in this story that is your life. Maybe you came here to play with some toys, eat some of the food, have some relationships and stories play out in this cage, but understand something. Your true nature is beyond the cage. The omnipresence, the consciousness, the very fabric of reality. Because in truth, this entire creation is literally your pure consciousness, not the consciousness that is the self-perception within the cage, within the self that you believe yourself to be, but the consciousness that is beyond it, the true source, God, infinite, boundlessness, spirit. So many various ways us humans love to talk about it within the confines of the cage, but I incur to you, what if you stepped out of the cage and entered into the true nature of who it is that you really are? Because maybe sometimes it's fun to be in the cage and play out the human story of your life, sure. But at a certain point, some part of your true nature yearns to remember itself, doesn't it? I know that it does. You would not be here perceiving of this conversation if that was not the case. How do I know this? Because I am you speaking to yourself. This is your own consciousness reflecting back to you. Because there is nothing here that is not you. It is all the same source, all the same consciousness. And in the cage, it wears different faces and speaks with various different pitches of tones and sounding voices and appears to be the many, but it is only the one. You are that one, but not the self-perception within the cage, outside of it. Somehow within us, from the day we're born into this body in this world, some part of us knows that there's something more to us, and we can't quite put our finger on it, but you and I both know that it's true. Something in you yearns to remember. Here's the interesting thing. In this very lifetime, this lifetime right now that you're in, you have a profound and beautiful opportunity to step outside the cage. Now, here's what this really means. It doesn't mean you just die and all of reality falls apart. This is not what this means. Okay? A lot of people like to think that death equals merging with the divine. And I don't want to say anything to offend anybody or pull away your beliefs that make you feel safe and comfortable, but that's actually not true. Because the being that you are, that is still in the story, the moment the story ends, you're still in the story, so the story continues on. It just keeps going until your soul gets to a certain point, a certain evolution, a certain remembrance within them, to walk out and merge with the divine, merge with source, surrender to God. There's so many ways to say this. To walk out the door of this cage into the truth of who you really are in this lifetime. Because once you remember, you are an awakened being. Your soul is awakened in this sense. Lifetime after lifetime, you can be the father. You can be the mother. You can be the son. You could be the daughter. You could be the famous musician. You could be the famous YouTuber. You could be all sorts of things. You could scratch everything off your checklist, and your soul at that point will realize none of that actually filled me. It was all an illusion. It was all part of the cage. And I'm realizing now that what I actually have always wanted on a soul level wasn't all of this stuff, but to merge with what is real. Now, I call this God. You could call it anything you want. Matters not to me. But that is what we hunger for. That is the truth our soul is looking for. Incarnation after incarnation, we play out our desires over and over and over again. And it's interesting because what happens is that we suffer enough to the point that we finally stop desiring all of these things. We suffer when we don't get what we want, and we suffer when we do get what we want. You ever noticed that? That's because the truth within you is knocking on the door and asking you, when are you going to remember? In this lifetime? 4 trillion lifetimes from now? So I'm here and I'm offering to you not just the possibility, but a very high probability that this lifetime, this incarnation, you become fully realized in the sense that you have literally stepped into the truth, which completely dissolves the illusion. That doesn't mean reality starts melting and falling apart like it's a video game and the pixels just start breaking. No, what it means is that your true being awakens and you are actually here in a way that is so profound, so powerful, so beautiful, that none of that stuff you've been trying to achieve in all those lifetimes, including this one, could even touch the surface of it, of how profound it is to be who you really are. To be in the game while remembering the player that you actually are, so to speak. This is a gross way of explaining it. But how else are we going to talk about it if we don't use analogies and things like this? There's just no way. The highest truth we could find would just be you and me sitting here in complete silence. Silence from our own minds. Silence from our own yearnings. Silence from our own desires. Silence from all of our worries. Just complete stillness. Complete silence. We could sit in that together and say nothing, and the truth would find us there. But many of us are so busy trying to be someone and do something, so many of us have to incarnate here and speak to these people in that way. I got to put on a costume to come and talk to those who wear costumes, or they will not receive me. They will not see me. They will not hear me. I have to hold the same props in my hands that many hold, or they will not see me. They will not hear me, and they will not know me. And that is the nature of the cage and the illusion, which is the perception of yourself, of being this person. A very profound shift that can be made in your life to evolve the soul, the true eternal self, because guess what? This person is going to die. Everything they've achieved, everything they've earned, all of it matters not. You're going to die. But you want to know what you'll still have afterwards? The eternal omnipresence of your soul. You understand this? Now, if all your soul does lifetime after lifetime after lifetime after lifetime is pursue stuff, what has your soul actually learned? Nothing. And that is why it is through suffering that so many begin to actually realize, oh shit, there's nothing in this world that's going to fill me. And there's a lot of pain in this place, and there's a lot of pain in me. And I've been trying to avoid it by getting more money or fame or success or, romance or whatever it is. But damn, none of it ever works. None of it. I tell you that it never will. The funny thing is, once you step out of the cage into the true omnipresence of who it is that you actually are, here's the funniest thing. Now you actually can enjoy the food that you eat. It won't bring you pain anymore. Now you actually can enjoy the relationships you have. You'll actually be present in them with an overflowing spilling of joy and love and the beauty of the divine spark looking back at you in all that you look at and all that you speak to. You will actually be here for the work that you do. But the work that you do will no longer be about you trying to survive and get something for yourself, which is a very sad way to live, my friend, in comparison to the overflowing omnipresence, eternal joy and love and bliss of your true being. That the work that they would naturally do through them is an offering to all others in this world, that they may come to join you in stepping out of the cage. For that is the greatest gift that any of us could give, the truth. And though the truth may be problematic to many people who yearn still to pursue their desires in this lifetime, and so they don't want to hear it. They don't want to hear that that's false illusion and is doing nothing for them in the grand scheme of things. They don't want to hear that. But I say to you, you share the omnipresence of your eternal being, the same eternal being that we all are, with those who are at a soul evolutionary state of actually desiring it also. They will hear you. They will be with you. And they will receive the gift that you are in this sense. Because they too, on a soul level, are ready to step out of the illusion. Those are the ones who will hear you. Understand this. The many that will not, do not worry about them. Why? Because after a few more thousand lifetimes, for example, their soul will get to a place where it is now ready to see what is beyond the illusion that never fills me. So if you go to tell someone the truth, for example, and they will not hear you, worry not. Worry not. Because this consciousness, God, Source, Infinite, Spirit, is so wise, so brilliant, so genius, that every single soul, all of them, every soul in this world, every soul in every world, or any dimension of experience or expression, will come to know God at some point. It is an inevitability. It is an inevitability. That is why Buddha said, I have already conquered the illusions of the world as an avatar. Therefore, it was God saying this through him. I have already conquered the illusions of the world. I've already won. The avatar, Jesus Christ. I have destroyed Satan. He's lost. It's over. And when you look at Hinduism, which I'm not as familiar with, I want to be clear about this, you look at Maya, which is what they call the illusion of the world. And their avatars too have said that they have conquered it. God has continually spoken to us. Pure, unfiltered consciousness and presence and spirit has continuously spoken to us that we need fear not, because every single one of us will come to God. It's really just a matter of time. Your desire to keep incarnating in this world, to fulfill desires of eating food, and you desire cigarettes and the drugs that you were addicted to in this lifetime, so your soul incarnates again, because you're still in that trap of desiring and feeling like you need those things. And you desire that romantic story that you didn't get in this lifetime, so your soul incarnates again until you get that romantic story enough times to realize that that too did not fill you. Those cigarettes did not fill you. That drink did not fill you. Those drugs did not fill you. Those achievements did not fill you. None of it ever did. And lifetime after lifetime, that is the wisdom that your soul will incur until it finally gets to a very ripe point of realizing a state of desirelessness, so to speak. That your soul no longer desires anything in this world, and that is when your soul is free from this world. When you stop desiring all of the things in it. But I want to make something clear to you. If right now on the human level you're like, okay, I'm not going to desire anything anymore, you're fooling yourself. Because you have innate desires in this incarnation. And also, now you're just desiring desirelessness. It's just more illusion. So uncross your arms. Don't be so rigid and serious and intense. I know I get that way sometimes too. But I'm telling you this. It is a natural ripening of the soul that we will reach a state of desirelessness in its own time, in our own soul's expression. But that comes genuinely and authentically from a place of really actually the soul not desiring anything anymore, but being completely free from it. And you're able to now just be. You're no longer reaching, striving, or thinking that there's something outside of you that's going to fill you. You're free from that cycle. You've walked out of the cage. So for many souls that are in this world, I'm telling you the truth. The best thing they could possibly do is pursue their desires. And I hope that they achieve them. I do. I hope they achieve all of their desires. I hope they fulfill all of their dreams. Because in doing so, their soul will get that much more ripe, because they will realize when they get everything they thought they wanted, that it's not what they want. And the young soul The young, unripe soul will go, well, maybe it's because I want this instead. Incarnates again and plays out that performance and that story. Oh, that didn't work, and incarnates again. You see, this is the ripeness of the soul, that we find ourselves in a true desirelessness state where we realize, and I know that this is conceptual, that what we really hunger for is union with God, merging into the true base reality, so to speak. The truth. This game here that we play is enjoyable, but what I really want is my real life. Not my fake one that I'm here pretending to be in this game, so to speak. Many people sit at their computers and play video games all day. Imagine what would happen if they stood up in their real lives and awoke. How profound that would be, to truly claim their life. And so it's the real life beyond this plane, the real life that we yearn for. But you keep logging into this game because you keep thinking there's all this stuff here that's going to fill you. And I'm telling you, it's not. But I'm also telling you, if you genuinely believe that it will, please pursue it. And many blessings to you. Truly, I'm blessing you right now that you achieve it. Because that is the greatest thing that could happen for your soul. The more you achieve, the more you get of what you want, the more your soul will ripen. For I want all of us to walk into the true life together. Because the real world, that's just a bit beyond the veil of this one, is so fucking beautiful. And I want to give you a hug there. And I can't wait to. Someday we will. Thanks. Much love and many blessings to you in your life. And I look forward to seeing you in the next Vibes and Frequencies video. See you there.